there's something that we need to do.
We're common archers, Rob.
The laws of this land enslave people to its king.
Congratulations on the movie, man.
Thank you.
What I didn't realize is how old this story is.
Yeah.
Did you know that it had that amount of history?
Well, obviously, because it's usually set in the time of Richard the Lionheart, you make the assumption that that's where the story comes from. But when I started looking into it, you know, depending on which historian you follow, some people will trace it all the way back to 870 AD.
He probably goes back as much as 8th century, 9th century, and is still being talked about in the 15th century. And so I believe because of that, I think he was probably real. So there was some character that definitely related to being called this Robin Hood or Robin of the Hood or Robin of Sherwood.
You know, and it begins with a guy called Robin the Beheader, who if you venture into the forest, he'll not only take all your worldly goods, he'll also chop off your head and your hands, stick them on spikes and put you on display in the forest to warn other people about coming into this.
The stuff that's written about Robin Hood is so hearsay and romantic, and a lot of the best stuff is written in the medieval vernacular. So it's like endless sonnets. Do they have the log fight mentioned? No. Did they mention he was a good shot? Yes. Was there a Marion mentioned? No. Okay. So these are things that have evolved in modern ease.
Robin Longstride, also known as Robin of the Hood.
For the crimes of incitement to cause unrest, I declare him to be an outlaw!
One of the cliches is that Richard the Lionheart rides in and saves the day. He's an English king, but he only speaks French, refused to learn English, spent only 6 months of his 10-year reign actually physically in England, had a grand disregard for England and Englishmen, tried to sell the city of London at one point and was peeved that he couldn't get a taker. And he started going, why is this guy such a revered English hero? You know, I don't understand it. And then you begin to realize, all right, you know, the church comes and goes of favour, and, you know, and the guy straight after him, his brother John, you know, he's the man who invented taxation, right? He's not going to be remembered in history very well. And he was anti-papist. So at a certain point, you know, the church has to rewrite the history, you know, to bring it back in their favour. So Richard is elevated because he was an assassin on behalf of the Pope and went on crusade for 10 years. You know, he is elevated to this legendary status. Right. So we decided, all right, so if we're going to start shooting down cliches, let's kill Richard in this first scene. So Richard's dead, so everybody who thinks they know the story of Robin Hood is automatically going to be going, how is this going to work out now?
In the name of King John, pay or burn.
With this type of character, what did you want to do with him compared to, let's say, versus everything that's been written and even, you know, what you've seen on film before?
This guy kind of got an unfair shake. You
Yeah.
know? And he inherited a bankrupt kingdom. You know, his mother was just horrible to him. and so it's like, of course he's got these issues. You know, the problem is he's somebody that gets manipulated.
But if you look at that history and you look at John's reign, the end of John's reign, just before he died, he signed the first version of the Magna Carta, which is directly related to the Declaration of Independence. And simultaneous to that is a thing called the Forest Charter. So John finishes his reign, and the balance between the rights of man, the rights of barons, and the responsibility of kings has all been readdressed.
Now, I know you have a band, you're a musician. Did you guys do any jam sessions? You know, because I know Russell. Yeah.
Oh man, we did so many jam sessions. It was incredible. I was so happy that they embraced me as like the extra merry man. That's like our secret. That King John was actually one of the merry men.
What I was gonna say, because you know, I mean, Alan, from what I understand, he produced some of Russell's music.
Oh yeah, well Alan's, I mean, he's got the band,
man,
Great
right?
Big Sea, which is an incredible band, and Scott Grimes is a ridiculous singer. I mean, amazing.
See, I didn't know that.
He's got an amazing voice and a great piano player, and so we would all just jam out every night.
And obviously, you know, singing was a huge part of this movie.
Right.
Alan's in a band called Great Big Sea, huge band. Right. And we've all sung together over the years and known each other, so it was a big part of the relationship that these guys needed to have.
We've had a couple of drinks with each other over the years, too.
Couple, yeah.
Yeah. So
we had a couple drinks.
And
very
you
easy
guys
to
all,
make.
you know, in some capacity have worked with Russell before. So it was just
Yeah.
was it just a phone call from him to get you guys to do the movie?
No, well, I mean, it was, you know, learn this accent and then we'll talk and then do this. It was definitely
I went
steps
over
to it.
to Glasgow to try and learn how to do it properly.
I didn't want like a whole nation of Scots to hate me for the rest of my life, huh? So
I'm assuming that learning the music and singing is part of the Merry Men boot camp. I keep hearing.
Part of the Merry Man
absolutely
experience.
it is. Yeah, I mean, we
Could be a ride. We could do a like a theme park. The Merry Man experience.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
goes-
Basically, you know, we went off to Australia initially to go to the Merry Men boot camp, and we would get up early in the morning, do some yoga, then we'd get to the archery, we'd get to the staff wielding that I had to do. We rode horses, and then we would drink a couple beers and sing some songs.
Wow.
And that
camp.
was the
But it was
whole.
tough.
That was our job.
It'll make a fine pincushion.
Are you guys pretty skilled now with the bow?
Yes, Alan is terrific. Russell's amazing. But we got really good. In between scenes, him and I would go off into the woods and have competitions. I mean, you're on a set, you have time off. What are you going to do? You're going to put up a water bottle and say who can hit it first.
Yeah. Well, it's like you got a little band of brothers
Yeah,
here, right?
yeah,
And so, you know, of course, we're always trying to outdo each other. And
That's a good name for a miniseries.
I knew I recognized you from somewhere.
get Spielberg on the phone.
Give me a tune on the way out.
Oh,
Plant, here we go.
and it's
Roll me, bully boys, we're in a hurry, boys. We've got a long way to go. We'll sing and we'll dance and bid farewell to France, and it's roll me, bully boys, roll.